Well, let's go back. Let's go back to our Roman alphabet. Now, what you see here are examples from the 6th century before Christ, before current era, of the archaic Latin alphabet. This one is the so-called forum inscription. It is a block of stone with the text is about the laws ruling Rome, and it was exposed in the so-called forum, the main square of the Roman city. And you can see here what I was talking about before. Letters are mainly composed by straight lines, okay? And you also have some curve, like circles. If you look at this, the first impression is a certain disorder, because the text is composed by lines, but these lines are a bit irregular. Okay. The other one, I think that it is not visible here, but this is the reproduction of the writing, and it read something like castore, etc., etc. And you can see that the writing goes from right to left. This is an hint that the Latin alphabet was based on the Etruscan alphabet that was written from right to left, like Arab today. Okay, so someone want to, okay. What I was saying before was the fact that the prevalence of straight lines and a certain disorder. This also is an example of something that is a kind of private writing. And this is made of a small metal plate. Again, it was written with an hard point. Okay, so both this that is big and this one that is very little are example of writing on hard materials. Okay. And if you have an hard point and you try to write on a metal plate or on stone, it is easy to understand why you prefer to write things like this, okay, with straight lines, etc., etc. This one is another stone with writing on it, but it is an Etruscan example. Again, here you can see that the writing goes from right to left. Why I say that you can see it? Because if you are familiar with our alphabet, you can recognize letters like E or L. On the third line here, okay? So, okay. And today we write L like this and E like this. And you can obviously have an understanding of the fact that this was written from right to left instead of left to right like today. Here you find an example of the old Latin alphabet, the archaic alphabet, and again, you can see that the prevalence of straight lines and the fact that more or less all letters share the same eight, okay? So letters are aligned in this way. They share the same height, and they are meant to be aligned one after the other in horizontal lines, okay? Oh, thank you. I always forget. Let's see. Sorry. Why? I just lost the connection here, and I don't know why. Beautiful.
Right on the chalkboard.
Yes, but at home they will have some problem. But I don't know why. I was trying just to. Okay, let's go back to this example. Okay, here you can see what I was talking about. Another strange thing that we see in some example, and it can be seen here, is that, for example, if you look at the first lines on top of the forum inscription, you can see that that one line goes from right to left, and the other one goes from left to right. Exactly. They at a certain point they wrote in this direction. They started from right. They proceed toward left. Then at the next line, they started from left and they were going toward right. So right, left, left, right, etc., in alternating way. Fortunately, this this was not so successful, and today we can write following one direction. Okay, after a few centuries, Roman capitals started to become what they are today. And we have a lot of examples from tombstones, okay, to other official public writing on stone, on durable material, that shows some characteristics that are important to us. If you look at these, you can see that if you compare it with the previous examples, you can see that letters are perfectly aligned. They form straight lines. Okay, they share exactly the same height. So you can see a nice alignment of letters. Every letter is well detached one from the other. So this is another feature of Roman Latin capitals. And you also you can also see a certain amount of geometrization of letters. It does not mean that letters were actually drawn with a ruler or any other tools like this. But even if they did not use, they did not build letter by circles, perfect circles, etc., etc. It was more written than designed. You can see a certain amount of geometrization. For example, letters like L are perfectly formed by right angles. O is a circle, etc., etc., etc. And this is one of the feature of, no, I've lost this one. Sorry, I now have to find a way to restore it. Give me a moment. I hate. Okay, we are back. So, beautiful. Oh, okay. Let's focus on the main traits of this writing. We say that letters are aligned and they share the same height. Okay, so this is the height. This means that every letter touches two lines. This is probably the most important thing about the Latin writing system. We have a baseline, and every letter sits on this baseline, okay, for the capitals. And another line that we call the cap or capital line. Oops. This is where letters are aligned at the top. We call this the two-line system of Roman capitals. This is really important because the difference between the capitals in structural terms, the difference between capitals and lowercase alphabet is that the lowercase alphabet is no more inscribed in this two-line system, but instead in a four-line system. Okay, we will see this in details later. So Roman capitals are inscribed inside this two-line system, and they are meant to be aligned one after the other in horizontal lines. This is not the same for other writing systems. We have writing systems that are composed in vertical or in any other way. By the way, this is true for Latin, and it allows something that is important for typography. If you decompose words into single units, like letters, you can build blocks that share the same height, and you are assured to, when you compose them, you are sure that you have a perfect line, okay? If every letter was of different height, it would be very hard to compose using blocks, physical blocks, okay? So the main line is the baseline. Okay, let's go back. Where? Yeah. So, the two-line system is one of the feature we were talking about. The other one is the fact that letters are well detached, okay? They are not fused together, like in cursive handwriting, for example. When you write something like this, okay? In this case, letters are ligated, are connected together. The other thing is that they are perfectly, this is an example of cursive, where letters are connected. And the other fact is that there is a vertical axis, okay? Letters are straight and vertical. In the italic shape that we use today, letters are slanted, okay? But in this case, letters are well vertical, and their shape is very static in some way, okay? And this goes well for the monumental thing that I was explaining before. since these letters were meant for celebrating important people and for official purposes. The monumental and static authoritarian feeling that you have from this writing is something that is understandable in the social context we see. Another thing that no, this is the main part until here. And here we are in the first century before Christ. It was a period that, politically speaking, Rome was a republic, okay? So this is before the Roman Empire. I say this because this is an important way of classification for letters. Starting from these examples here, or this one here, again, this is another tomb. Again, here you can see the fact that letters are aligned, except for a few exceptions, like in the first line, you can see here PTO toward the ends of the inscription, where T rise above both P and O. And again, we are in the first century before Christ. Here are a few examples of these letters where you can see this regularity in the module, the two-line system, the fact the geometrization, perfect right square, right angle, and again other things like the prevalence of straight lines. Another important thing is that these letters are now have they now have different width. Okay, you have the E is quite narrow, O is wide, P is again narrow, M is wider than O, etc., etc. So when we have this situation where every letter shares the same height, but they do not share the same width, okay, they occupy a different space. And in typographical term, when our design follow this characteristic, we call this proportional. This is a proportional typeface, is where letters occupy different space in width. This is contrasted by the so-called monospaced typeface, where every letter shares exactly the same width. So in this case, you will have a wider E, a compressed O, a wide P, and a very compressed M. Okay? Every letter is just the same in width. This was uncommon until the advent of typewriting, okay, the typewriter, where you have a machine, you push a button, and there is a like a little hammer that goes into the paper, and then the whole paper goes advance of a fixed length. Okay, so when you use a typewriter, you have this equal length for technical reasons. It is still used today because it's very useful for programming, writing code. Okay, the typefaces, fonts that are used in programming for writing code are always monospaced, because they in this way you can align your code in a nice way, and it is more understandable. Okay, so we have seen this difference between proportional typeface and monospaced typeface. Our in alphabet was at the beginning very proportional. You have letters like I that is very thin. I mean, it occupies a small space. Letters like M that is very large, and letters like B that is quite narrow in comparison to O. During the development of typography, there is a process of equalizing this width, at least for the uppercase. Okay, you still have proportional typefaces where widths vary, but there is a tendency toward the uniformization of this width. Oops. Now, after a while, here we are in the 1st century before Christ. Here we are in the 1st century after Christ. We see different letters, like the Trajan letters in the Trajan inscription that we have already seen. And here we can introduce another concept and another feature of these letters that are very important for us as type design. If you look at this example, for example, look at S. You can see that the line that defines the letter have the same thickness, in all parts. Okay, so you have the same thickness everywhere, more or less, obviously. But when we look at the Trajan inscription and inscription of this era, or even after this, we start to see something different. That is is really important for us. Look at this comparison between these letters. At the left, we have the letters that we seen in the tombstone. I mean, in the tomb inscription, and the other one is the corresponding letter in Trajan, in the Trajan inscription. What we see here is that the thickness of letter change inside the same letter, okay? Instead of this, we have something like this. Okay, so we have a thin part that is here and here, a thick part here. Okay? Let's go back here. We can find the same thing in A, for example. In A, instead of having this, we have something like this. We have a thick part and a thin part. Okay? And the same is true for O, where we can see another thing. We have thin and thick. Okay. Okay. The difference in thickness is what we call contrast. This is a key concept in typeface design and in typeface description. The presence of contrast. It means that the different parts of a letter do not share the same thickness. There is a contrast in between thin and thick strokes. And we can talk about typefaces and letters using this concept of high and low contrast or no contrast at all. It is very rare to find letters with no contrast at all. Usually even typefaces that are designed to look like they do not have any contrast have some contrast. So we can go from high contrast to low contrast. Again, contrast means the difference between thin and thick strokes inside every letter, and inside each letter, and between letters. Okay. But there is another thing that should be noticed. You can see that here you can see that the distribution of thin and thick follows some pattern. Okay, it is not arbitrary. It follows a pattern. And in following this pattern, what you have, and it is visible in O, is that you have a diagonal axis. It is the axis that is defined by the thin parts, okay? So if we decompose O in two shapes, the outer contour and the inner contour, we can see that the inner part is appears as it was rotated or slanted a little bit. Okay. The inner part looks like a oval shape that was rotated counterclockwise. So another key concept for describing and designing letters is the concept of axis. When we talk about the axis of typeface, we mean that we want to say something about the pattern of contrast. There are typefaces with high contrast, but a vertical axis. There are typefaces with medium contrast and slanted axis. And we will see that this is a key important line that divide typefaces that have a straight vertical axis, and typefaces that have a slanted axis. Okay, but this is a subject of another lesson. So now we have one geometrization. Let's say a tendency for geometrical shape. Opla. And it is important to underline tendency, okay? So, we have the two-line system. Three, we have the contrast. And four is another thing that I have to explain a moment. Okay. Let's see if I... No, just a moment. Okay. Now, the quality of the image is not that good, but anyway, you can see that these letters, the straight lines in this letter, do not end straight, okay, but they have something at the end, on top and bottom, usually, or in letter like E and F, something also in the horizontal strokes. So this is like a spatula shapes at the end of the strokes. Instead of having a rectangle for I, we have something like this. Okay, so at the end of lines, you have this kind of projection, horizontal projection that is larger than the line, but you also have the same thing in letters like E. Okay, we call these terminations serifs. This is a strange word that probably comes from some Dutch words, but it is the etymology of the word is uncertain. But anyway, it is the term that is used So we have seen these key features of our typeface: geometrization, two-line system, contrast, and serifs. Why it is important to talk about this stuff? The main reason is that by analyzing and studying these characteristics, we have the tools to talk about typefaces, and we have, or letters in general. We are able to understand letters. We are able, therefore, to build letters following or not following this the tradition, okay? But if we want to, break with the tradition, we have to have some knowledge of it to understand why letters look like they look today. Now, I think that we can make a pause since this is our first lesson. The next lesson, I will explain, we will see how we can explain these two facts. Oops. The contrast and serifs, okay? Because we cannot be satisfied by the fact that if we observe letter, we can assume some rule. For example, that in S, the central part is thicker than other parts, or the fact that the right leg of A is thicker than the left leg. And also, we have to understand why there is this axis that we can recognize in Roman capitals. We need an explanation to make sense of this fact, and without relying on external rules. We will see that the explanation for this is mainly to be found in the tools they used to write these letters, okay, and to carve the stones for the inscription. And here we see what I was talking about at the beginning of the lesson, the importance of material factor and the importance of tools, of mechanical movements, and so on and so on. So the importance of the material aspect of production for these letters and this writing system. Okay. Obviously, from starting from the next lesson, we will have to actually draw something. So please bring with you something for drawing, paper, possibly. If you prefer to draw on a tablet, you can, obviously. But sometimes paper is better because it is less exact. We need something to sketch, okay, without having the ability to zoom in and see in greater details what we are doing. At the beginning, sketching is better than having to worry about pixel precision. Okay. For paper, I my suggestion is to use very thin paper that is very cheap because we need a lot. It is better because if you have thin paper, you can work on and copy from one sheet to the other. Okay. And pencil, obviously, if you prefer a tablet, you will use what you have. And it is not important to have an eraser because correcting is not recommended. It is better to make a lot of errors instead of having the ability of erasing and doing again and again and again. And I think that it is important to keep everything you do. Okay, so you can see if you have made progress or regress. I hope not. And that's what we will do. Today, this lesson is shorter because it is our first lesson. So I just wanted to introduce something, but maybe not all of you have the tools to do exercises, and I'd like to give you a notice before. Starting from next Friday, we will begin possibly at 9 o'clock or 9:15, and we will end after lunch. I think at 2 o'clock it can be good. So we have a lunch break in between. And in this way, we will have space for drawing and making exercises. That's okay? Okay. Do not forget, if you haven't done yet, to enter in the Google Classroom for the course, because I will publish things here, and you can also use the the stream to publish something. Oh, yes, thank you. Okay, this is the code. You can also write something on the stream if you have questions that are relevant for all of you. Again, remember to buy this book, Type Tricks by Sophie Bayer. Small, but it explains, it can be useful for you during this class when we start to design, and you have a reference of small rules, suggestion, and things like this. Okay. Okay, so you have the next module with Raissa Duffizi starting at 3 o'clock. Thank you for your presence, and see you next Friday.